The purpose of respiratory protection is to prevent exposure to contaminated air. Depending on the task and working conditions, respirators may be required as personal protective equipment. There are a variety of hazards in the workplace that may irritate the respiratory system. Dusts are particles caused by milling, sanding, crushing, and grinding. Fumes are solid particles formed by condensation of a gas or vapor, like welding or furnace work. Mists are tiny liquid drops produced by spraying, mixing, and cleaning operations. A gas is a normal, formless state of matter that occupies space, such as nitrogen and carbon monoxide. And vapors are the substances that evaporate from a liquid or solid. The most common type of vapor is water vapor. Air-purifying respirators are typically used in environments with low levels of contaminants and sufficient oxygen. They are broken out into two categories: particulate filtering and vapor and gas filtering. Particulate filtering respirators, or PFRs, provide a physical barrier to dusts, mists, fumes, and fibers. Filters have three different categories: N, which is not resistant to oil, R is resistant to oil, and P is oil-proof. If there are no oil particulates, any filter can be used. In addition to filter types, there are different levels of efficiency: 95%, 99%, and 99.75%, which is considered to be 100%. For example, the most commonly used respirator is an N95 dust mask, which is not resistant to oil and has the lowest efficiency. Particulate filtering respirators do not protect against vapors, gases, or oxygen deficiency. They will not provide adequate protection in confined spaces, for major leaks or spills, or for certain highly toxic chemicals. The filter pores in PFRs can become easily clogged and require frequent disposal or changing the filter. Gases and vapors from liquids, such as solvents, are dissolved in the air and cannot be trapped by a particulate filter. Gas and vapor respirators use chemical-containing cartridges or canisters to filter air. These chemicals absorb or chemically change the contaminant and are color-coded to identify the contaminant it filters. There are several types of vapor and gas filtering respirators. Powered air-purifying respirators, or PAPRs, have air blowers to pull air through the cartridges and filters. Full-face respirators shield a wearer's face and eyes from splashing liquids or flying particles. And half-mask respirators cover only the nose and mouth. Chemical cartridges can only absorb so much chemical until they stop providing adequate protection. The end-of-service life indicator warns the user when the sorbent is approaching saturation and is no longer effective. When capacity is reached, breakthrough can occur. This means the chemical goes through the cartridge into the facepiece. Some chemicals have no odor or can only be smelled at high levels and may not be noticed when breakthrough occurs. Selecting the correct respirator is the first, most important part of respiratory protection. Analyze the nature of the task. How long will the exposure last? Is the work strenuous, making breathing more difficult? Identify hazardous characteristics in the work area. Is work in a confined space or a poorly ventilated area? Will temperatures be hot or cold? Could more than one contaminant be present? Look at the work processes. Does the way chemicals are combined, heated, or applied create an additional hazard? This could include spraying, painting, and welding. Always read and follow instructions for each type of respirator. However, there are some similarities to donning respirators no matter what type you use. Inspect the respirator for rips, tears, creases, or other damage. Replace the respirator if it is damaged, deformed, wet, or soiled. Prepare the respirator by cupping it in your hand, allowing the straps to hang below it. The nose clip or top of the facepiece should be facing away from you. When donning a half facepiece respirator, unfasten the bottom strap if there is one. Pull the top strap over your head until it rests on the crown of your head above your ears. Pull the bottom strap over your head until it rests at the back of your neck. Long hair should be tied back so that the strap is firmly against the neck. For a half-face respirator, clip the bottom straps together. To achieve a secure fit in half-face respirators, pull the ends of the straps to adjust the tension, starting with the top, then moving to the bottom straps. Be sure not to over-tighten. Using both hands, starting at the top of the dust mask, mold the nose clip around your nose to achieve a good face-to-respirator seal. Do not pinch the nose clip with one hand. Seal checks must be performed each time a respirator is worn to make sure it is properly positioned on the face. To perform a positive pressure seal check, cup your hands over the mask or cover the exhalation valve and exhale normally. The facepiece should expand slightly. To perform a negative pressure seal check, restrict air intake and inhale normally. The mask should collapse slightly. If air leaks between the face and the respirator seal, reposition the respirator and adjust the straps for a more secure seal. Perform the seal check again. If a proper seal cannot be achieved, a different respirator must be selected. Masks are not always a one-time use item. Proper care and storage will help conserve the respirator. Disposable face pieces must be replaced if they become wet, damaged, or contaminated. Do not crease or fold the mask. Do not write on the mask or alter the mask in any way. Respirators should be stored in a manner that protects the facepiece from distortion and prevents damage and contamination. An example of proper storage would be a sealable storage bag. Before cleaning a respirator, disassemble it by removing filters, cartridges and canisters, hoses, and valve components. Wash all components with a mild detergent or cleaning agent. A soft brush can be used to remove dirt. Rinse thoroughly with warm, running water. The importance of this step cannot be emphasized enough. Detergents and disinfectants that dry on face pieces can result in dermatitis, deterioration of rubber, or corrosion of metal components. Components should be hand-dried with a clean, lint-free cloth or air-dried. OSHA requires workers who wear respirators to be cleared by a medical physician, as respirators can place a burden on the body, especially for those with lung or heart conditions. To obtain clearance from a physician, either complete a medical questionnaire to be reviewed or schedule an in-office evaluation. If the physician reviewing the medical questionnaire identifies a concern with wearing a respirator, a follow-up evaluation will be required. It is important to provide as much information as possible to the physician regarding the respirator being used and exposures expected to be encountered. Medical clearance is only required once unless the user shows signs or symptoms of medical conditions related to respirator use, requested by a physician or the employer, or changes in the workplace or exposures that could affect the user. Fit testing is required before wearing a respirator to ensure a proper fit. A fit test must also be performed annually if there are changes in the workplace or the type of respirator, or physical changes in the user that affects the fit, such as facial hair or dental changes, and weight changes of more than 10 to 20 pounds. Facial hair is not permitted when wearing a tight-fitting respirator. Any PPE, such as safety glasses, must not interfere with the seal. To ensure proper protection of your respiratory system, know the contaminant, extent of use, and permissible exposure limits in order to select the proper respirator. Conduct a fit test annually to confirm the respirator fits properly. Perform a seal check before use to make sure there are no leaks. To extend the life of the respirator, keep it clean and store it in a cool, dry area.